Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nerd Cave Cinema, video number 2. Want to thank everybody who watched the first video, commented, liked, subscribed. Really appreciate the feedback. Audio should be fixed a little bit now. I got my mic stand properly set up, so hopefully I won't be blowing out your eardrums. All right, today we're going to make a Christmas watch list. These are some of my favorite Christmas holiday movies to get you into the spirit for the holiday season. Some of them are your traditional Christmas movies, and some of them are not so traditional, but they take place at Christmas. Of course, there's the age old debate about Die Hard, if it's a Christmas movie or not. I think it is a Christmas movie, but there are, of course, a lot of people who don't, and that's always fun to debate. And this list is going to be a mix of traditional and non traditional Christmas movies, but all of them should get you into the spirit. Okay, up first are your more traditional Christmas holiday movies and specials. These ones hit a special spot in me in my Gen X youth in the late 80s, early 90s. First off, a classic that's been around since the 60s. Not exactly a movie, but I feel like this is the best version of that story, and that's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Chuck Jones 60s cartoon. The Jim Carrey movie is okay. I have not seen the Benedict Cumberbatch all CGI Grinch movie. I heard that some people like that as well. But for me, you gotta go with the old school Grinch. Up next is a couple of Christmas Carol adaptations. First is Mickey's Christmas Carol, a short, about a half hour long, but it gives you the Christmas Carol story pretty much from start to finish. Pretty much a great adaptation. Love Scrooge McDuck. And I mean, this is a gateway into DuckTales, one of my favorite Disney cartoons growing up as a kid. But I love this, love the character design. Very nice, very heartwarming adaptation of the Christmas Carol. If you have a little bit more time and want to really dive into the Christmas Carol, my favorite adaptation of the full movie is A Muppet's Christmas Carol. Now, this movie stars Michael Caine and as Scrooge, and then everybody else is a Muppet. And the cool thing about this movie is Michael Caine went to the director, Brian Henson, who is Jim Henson's son, and said he would play it as a dramatic role. He's not going to be all Muppety about it. He's going to play it straight, and it works. It works so well. It works great with the other Muppets. It's one of Michael Caine's best performances. He really dived into it and embraced the silliness of it by taking it seriously. And he also had a great time singing. He said him and Kermit had a good harmonizing duet together when they sing, which is very heartwarming to hear that you have a good duet voice with Kermit the Frog. And it's a great movie. Muppets, gotta love the Muppets. They're due for another live action movie here, so hopefully we get to see more of them soon. Michael Caine, though, in A Muppet's Christmas Carol, one of the best Scrooges out there. Some other live action Christmas that are traditional, that are not as old, but they are a mainstay in a lot of houses right now. Of course, you got Home Alone, the classic movie from 1990. That movie was everywhere, and it has become a Christmas staple. Another one that came out in 1989, right around the same time, is Christmas Vacation. My favorite vacation movie is Christmas Vacation. I find it hilarious. I can relate to it as a family. We call our dad Clark sometimes when he's out there putting out lights. One year he fell off the roof, and that was the end of Clark Griswold, aka my dad's Christmas light climbing years. Those are done with. And then another one that's a little bit newer, but has really found its spot as a classic is Elf, Will Ferrell's Elf. A little divisive movie, but I love this movie. It's very sincere. You got Will Ferrell being his goofy self. This is right in the prime of his career, his movie career, with a lot of R-rated movies with Old School and movies like that. But Elf is just a sweet movie. Jon Favreau directed it. The success of this movie really catapulted him to more success, which got him the Iron Man movie, which got him the MCU. So this Christmas movie, very special place in my heart. Elf. Will Ferrell, James Caan play great off of each other. James Caan plays a great straight man, even though he's probably really like that in real life as well. But the great James Caan plays a straight man in this one to perfection. Couple other ones. The Night Before, a comedy that I just watched last year. It's an R-rated comedy with Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Anthony Mackie. Really love this movie. It's about three friends who are trying to relive their glory days of going out to the bars and having their traditions and, growing up. So if you're in your 20s or your early 30s, this movie will really hit you with nostalgia and missing those glory days of having traditions with your friends that might have gone away because you grow up, you have a family, you have different jobs, different commitments, stuff like that. Really, really love this movie. Just saw it last year, but it is on our annual watch list here at our house. Love Actually is another movie like that. It's got that Christmas feel to it. It leads up to Christmas, so it's a fun one to put on maybe when you're wrapping gifts or decorating the house because it has that anticipation countdown to Christmas, and then when you get to Christmas, all these storylines come together. And yeah, it's a fun movie. It can be a little corny, but love is corny, and so is Love Actually. Up next, we got a couple Christmas movies that are in the genre uh, sphere. First one is Krampus, a horror movie about a family that Krampus comes to their house. What I love about this movie is the cast is a lot of comedians, and then you have Toni Collette, who's giving a performance right up there with her hereditary performance as a mom at her wit's end. This one is played a little bit more tongue in cheek. Adam Scott's in this movie. A lot of familiar faces and a lot of comedians, but this movie is a straight up horror movie, and I think it's really fun. I think it's a good starter horror movie too for kids who are just starting to get into horror movies because it has that Christmas bend to it too. Good production design, good mood, good setting. Love a good snowstorm in a movie as well. So Krampus, check that one out. Another one that came out a couple years ago is Violent Night with David Harbour from Stranger Things fame and the MCU. This movie is basically Die Hard, but instead of John McClane, it's Santa Claus, and he comes to save the day at this rich house. There's it's basically Die Hard, but Santa kicks ass. There's one part where it basically turns into Home Alone, but R-rated, and yeah, a fun time. Not exactly the best movie ever, but if you want to see Santa kick ass, I highly recommend Violent Night. All right, last two on the traditional Christmas ends of things are about found families. Maybe not the families that you were born into, but the families that you find along the way. About a Boy, it takes place around Christmas time. It's not a straight up Christmas movie, but it definitely gives you those vibes. Hugh Grant is really good in this performance. This is in the early 2000s. Nicholas Hoult is the little boy who has grown up to be a pretty much an A-lister in his own right. So really happy for his career. He got a start as an adult with the X-Men movies, playing Beast. This is one of his kid roles, and he's very good with Hugh Grant. It'd be really cool to see those two hook up in a movie now, all these years later. But About a Boy, Toni Collette, once again in this movie, does a great performance as a mom who's really struggling. And a lot of good stuff in this movie. Very sweet. And like I said, a found family. So you get some of that non-traditional Christmas spirit. Another one with a found family that just came out last year, and when me and my wife Adrian saw this, we were like, "This is going on our yearly Christmas watch list." It feels so nice, so comforting, even though it might not be the most uplifting movie. But that's The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti. What a wonderful movie about a private school, some students who aren't able to go to break with their families, so they are holdovers at the school. Paul Giamatti is charged with looking after them. There's also the cook in the movie. Holdovers also being a period piece really makes it feel like a classic Christmas movie, even though it's only been out a year. And it's definitely one me and my wife are going to watch every year. Just feels right. Really, really good, beautiful movie. Had a lot of Oscar consideration from the last year. So it's cool to see a Christmas movie get some Oscar love because sometimes they're not always at the top of people's list as far as Oscar movies are concerned. All right, for the next half of our list is going to be more of those movies that are set at Christmas time but aren't exactly about Christmas. These are the ones that get debated with your movie nerd friends. And because of that, I'm going to take off the traditional red Santa hat and I'll put on my black Santa hat here. There we go. And now we'll dive into the world of sort of Christmas movies here. All right. So first up, I'm doubling down on Die Hard. I think Die Hard 1 and 2 is a great little Christmas doubleheader. The first one takes place at a Christmas office party, and the second one takes place at an airport at Christmas time. Now, these are two Christmas traditions that are just, built into the holiday. The traveling is always a big part of Christmas, and going to office parties you might not necessarily want to go to. Just like John McClane flew across the country for this Christmas party, trying to reconcile with his wife at Christmas time. He's got a giant stuffed teddy bear to give her. And then in Die Hard 2, he's trying to make sure everyone gets to their destination on time for Christmas. And there's a snowstorm at Washington, D.C. airport. And it is also feels very Christmas-y to me. Both movies end with a Christmas song needle drop, which I find awesome and amazing. And yeah, Die Hard 1 and 2, if you think about it, a great Christmas doubleheader. All right, a couple other Christmas movies that are in the superhero genre. Batman Returns, Tim Burton's sequel to Batman 1989. This was from 1992. You got Michael Keaton back as Batman. You got Danny DeVito as the Penguin. And you got Michelle Pfeiffer as the Catwoman. One of my favorite Catwoman performances. Michael Keaton's my favorite Batman. This movie takes place at Christmas time, so there's a lot of snow. I mean, if you think Tim Burton and his production designs, like of Edward Scissorhands and this, he could do Christmas very well. So this movie I really enjoy. It's fun to watch at Christmas time. Another superhero movie that is around Christmas time. This one has even less of that Christmas feel, but there are parts that are like that. This one also has another giant stuffed rabbit, I believe, that Tony gives Pepper, and that's Iron Man 3. This movie takes place at Christmas time, and that's really about it. There's at one point where Tony gets stuck in a small town, I believe in Tennessee, and it's decorated for Christmas. We'll get some Christmas needle drops here and there, but really at the end of the day, it's an Iron Man movie, but it has a little bit of that Christmas in there. So if you want to start out Christmas, dip your toes in, maybe Iron Man 3 is where you start. All right, next up on the not so Christmas, but it is a Christmas movie, Rocky 4. Rocky 4 does not have anything to do with Christmas until we get to the final fight. It was negotiated to be in Russia against Drago. Yes, it's Rocky 4, that big one against Russia and the US. The fight takes place Christmas Day in Russia. So you have the built-in snow and the cold of Russia. You got Rocky doing his montage training out in the wilderness, climbing the mountain, yelling Drago. It's just an amazing movie. Doesn't really have anything to do with Christmas except for that final fight takes place at Christmas Day. So if you really want to be in the spirit of America and communists and the Cold War, Rocky 4 is one for you. All right, and now for my last little subcategory of not quite Christmas movies, but definitely takes place at Christmas, is the Shane Black Hall of Fame. Shane Black is a writer and director of some great movies. Iron Man 3 is one of them. And he also has a handful of other movies that are action movies or buddy cop movies, but they take place at Christmas, but they really have nothing to do with Christmas. But Shane Black just loves to have Christmas in his movies. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is an excellent movie. It stars Robert Downey Jr. This is right before his comeback, so this is kind of like the seeds of him coming back. He's got Iron Man coming up in a couple years after this. Him and Val Kilmer are amazing chemistry as two wannabe detectives. Well, one is a detective, one is an actor or a criminal. It's a fun noir. Really highly recommend Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Another movie he did in the 90s, The Long Kiss Goodnight. Didn't direct this movie, but he wrote it. It stars Gina Davis. Think of it as The Bourne Identity, but with Gina Davis. And Samuel L. Jackson is in the movie as well. Really fun Christmas movie. Takes place in a small town most of the time that celebrates Christmas, and really fun movie. Great action movie. Suggest you check it out, The Long Kiss Goodnight. Another movie that Shane Black wrote, but he did not direct, but takes place at Christmas, is another legendary buddy cop movie, Lethal Weapon. The first one takes place at Christmas time. And boy, he just loves Christmas and action movies. I don't know why. It's like it never is about saving Santa or saving Christmas. It just happens to take place at Christmas. And another one he did that is really a great double feature with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. Another great comic performance by Ryan Gosling as just a bumbling private eye, and Russell Crowe as this enforcer, and they have to team up and solve this mystery. And it takes place at Christmas time a little bit as well. But it's just a fun movie. Really recommend that. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is even more in that Christmas spirit and is a great, fun adult noir action comedy movie. So that's a list of my 20 Christmas watch list movies. Hopefully, you can find a couple of these that you haven't seen before or haven't watched for a long time and add it to your Christmas rewatch list. All right, that's going to do it for this week's Nerd Cave Cinema. Thanks for joining us. Hope you find something that you can watch from this video, and we will see you next time.